Okay, so in this video, I'm going to answer 3 questions posed to us by viewers of this channel or followers of us on our other social media platforms. If you haven't seen this channel before, we do videos aimed to help employees, and that's employees either in work or seeking work. We try to give realistic advice that will give you an understanding of the genuine picture of how things actually work. If you like the sound of this channel, do consider subscribing to our channel, and if you do, don't forget to click the bell icon so you're not going to miss any one of our forthcoming videos. I'd always say that starting a business, it isn't actually all that difficult. You can go on the government website and within 20 minutes call yourself a company director. But is that really starting a business? For me, probably not. You will have people that will call themselves a CEO and a founder, and in reality it's a side hustle that will operate on a weekend from their bedroom. I've got nothing against people like that, but I wouldn't class it as, when you're talking about starting a business for me is something, when for the sake of argument of this video, is something that is going to facilitate your entire living standards. And there's 2 ways really of starting a business. It's either you going as a kind of solo practitioner, where you have a trade, you have a skill set, you provide a service, you have consultative skills, something like that, that you want to then market to a customer or clientele base, and you can make money out of that. It's either doing that, or it's then the separate route, which is the route that I've gone, which is to build a company. And building a company with multiple employees in multiple locations to the end goal where that company can function without you being present. So what my company's building, for example, is where, even though when I started out as a solo practitioner with the goal of building a company, it was to basically be in a position where I could theoretically spend a year away from the business, have nothing to do with the business, no contact whatsoever, no advice, any involvement whatsoever, and that business will be able to provide not only an operational process throughout a year, it would run without me being present at all, but also grow and make profit without me doing anything. So I could theoretically be sat on a beach somewhere having no involvement, and my company makes me a load of money and continues to grow. So when I come back, it's even bigger and better than it was before I left. That's what I would class as a built business. That is very difficult to do, as is if you're a solo practitioner trying to build a business on your own without having outside help. Both can be difficult. And if you're going to be a success at it, that's where it's going to make you very wealthy. You're going to be in a position where you've built something where people are willing to spend an awful lot of cash on your services, either by way of volume customers, or if you're a solo practitioner, the amount of money they're willing to part with to get your expertise and your services. That's difficult to do. That takes years to go and do. And the reality of building a business that someone who hasn't built a business before might not be able to see is the amount of sacrifice you have to put in. The reality is that the amount of money that I'll take out of the business probably won't be that much, because most of the money that we'll make will be reinvested into the business to continue growing it. So I won't actually see that much in way of returns for a number of years. If I started taking out loads of money from the business and having a good time, okay, great, but my business wouldn't grow, and then if another pandemic came along, another recession came along, it would probably fold and we'd be in real trouble. So you're trying to put that effort and that time and that process into it. And what you've got to bear in mind is the statistics for company survival in this country, in the US, in most countries, it doesn't make for pretty reading. You've got to bear in mind that 60% of companies in their first 12 months of trading, first year of trading, will fold. They'll fail. They won't work. And that could be because the business can't take off, there's not enough investment or capital there, or simply that the owner realizes how hard the task is that they're taking on board. So straight away, it can be very difficult. And if you look over the first 5 years, 90% of businesses within their first 5 years of trading will fold. They will fail again, simply because either the business can't take off, they can't get the funding that they need, the owner has given up, doesn't want the commitment factors that need to be put into it, because it is a full-time intensive job where everything is on you. Stress is on you, responsibility is on you, time's on you, and you're not going to see that much in by way of reward for a number of years. So if you want to go and build a business, whether it be a solo practitioner to the extent where you're made for life, you haven't got to worry about it too much, or trying to build a company where you're having a bunch of employees that are going to be able to run that company without you being present as what I would class as a built business, that's really, really hard to do. And in truth, you've really got to want to do it, and you've really got to be committed to take on an enormous task, which will be the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. But if you really want it, it can be done, but you've really got to want to do it. So in answer to the question, it's very hard. Can anyone do it? If they're motivated enough to do it, if they have the knowledge enough to do it, and they're competent at all of the minute tasks that need to be done at the beginning, i.e. the sales, the operations, the day-to-day running, the vision, how you're going to grow it, the strategy, the expertise in terms of the trade, then you can do it. Anyone can do it. And even if you can't do certain areas, i.e. accounting, you can always outsource that part, or the legal part. You can always outsource that part at a cost which most small businesses would be able to absorb within their cash flow. So it's doable for anyone. Really what I'd say is it's more about the motivation than the financial aspects. And bear in mind, if you know my background, it wasn't that long ago I was living in a sky-rise council flat with a small family, with literally no money at all, living off the breadline. And I didn't have anyone in my family who ran a business. I didn't have anyone in my family who could finance me. I didn't have any expertise or training or specialist, any of that. I had to learn the lot myself. So I'm simply someone who is relentlessly hardworking, relentlessly driven, and just won't give in, and is obsessed about building a company, as crazy as that sounds. But I enjoy it, I love it, and you've really got to be passionate about what you're doing. So I do think anyone can do it, but it's very tough. In truth, you can do this either way, but I would say that if you want to work for yourself or work where you're going to try and build a company with employees, I would say there's two things you need to consider depending on the route you're going to go. And the first is whether you want to be a manager or not, whether you want to manage people. If you don't want to manage people and you're trying to hire people from a small business, not only is it going to be an unpleasant experience for you, but it's also going to be an unpleasant experience for potential employees if you want to go the hiring people route. That's the first thing I'd say. If you don't want to manage people, then you probably need to look at the solo practitioner route. But the second thing to consider, if you do want to go the solo practitioner route, is your business model. Is it a business model that you can do on your own without outside help, without outside support, and still not have to go and do 8 days a week in order to make it happen? If it's a job that you could do 4 or 5 days a week, still have your weekends off, so it's manageable for someone on their own to be able to do over a prolonged period and for the foreseeable future, then great, you can go the solo practitioner route. And certainly if you don't want to go the management route, it's probably the best route for you as long as your business model fits that. Otherwise, I'd probably encourage people to go and try and build a company, because ultimately you have an end goal with building a company. If you're on your own, there's never really an end to it. You can't go and sell the business to somebody else because you're the brand, you're the customer attraction, you're everything to that company. If you have a holiday, there's no one else to run it. So then the drawbacks of being a solo practitioner. If you're comfortable with that, great. But if you go and build a company and you want to sell that company one day, you want an exit plan, you want to walk away, or you want to simply be in a position where you can have that company operate without any of your presence whatsoever, then you want to be hiring employees. But neither route is right or wrong. It just really depends on what works for you. I'm not a big fan of quick win money making schemes, because most of the time they are projected in the interests of someone trying to make money for themselves rather than try and make money for you. You'll see a lot of the people that put out quick win money making schemes as being kind of guys on YouTube, maybe in the middle of a video like this, on the advert side of it, coming on with a baseball cap sat in America going, "Hey guys, do you want to make some money overnight? I made $20 million trading," or whatever like this. Excuse my accent, but that's what they'll come on and do. And the issue with that is, I don't want to trade, I don't want to really trust someone with my money that I don't know, and put my faith into it on the basis of trying to get a quick win. If these people were really that good at getting quick wins in there and there was a model that really, really worked, why would they be on their own? Why would they be doing stuff like that? And that's how a lot of these schemes work. I just think they prey on people that don't want to have the patience to try and make money over a period of time. it's high risk. If you go out and trade stocks and shares, there's 3 levels of stocks and shares you can trade. There's safe bets in blue chips, which they know will go up, but they're not going to make you massive amounts of what's called yield or massive amount of, i.e. percentages on your profits, but you'll make money over a long period of time. Or they'll have medium risk where you'll have some, but if there is a crash or anything like that, you could lose all your money. But most of the time it'll be fine. Or you could have high risk where you can make high money, but you can make high losses as well. And the same thing with quick win schemes. They're all high risk, high loss kind of focuses. And yes, somebody must make money out of it somewhere. Yeah, but I would say if you're being sensible, if you're being patient, I would recommend that it's a very, very bad idea. It's basically going down the casino and trying to put all your money on black and then trying to get that 5 times in a row. And that's your quick win money making scheme. It's a massive gamble. And I just don't think it's a great idea, and I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so hopefully I answered those questions and gave you a bit of a better insight into my opinions and my background knowledge on these subjects. If you do like this video, do consider subscribing to our channel. And if you do, click the bell icon so you won't miss any one of our forthcoming videos.